Yes, this game has varieties. Yes, this game is also really fun. These two things can coexist. Hi y'all, my name's Azeem, and my assigned persona is a jackal. A couple days ago, I was scrolling through Steam, and I saw this game called Atlyss in my recommendations. And at first, when I saw the images, y'all, I was like, damn, they writing, is this fire? I'ma need these, I'ma that. But then, I saw the review score, and I read all the reviews, and I was like, hold on, they writing is this fire? Seeing both those salacious curves and the good reviews back to back piqued my interest, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna give it a whirl. And oh boy, what a whirl it was, y'all. Real quick, this video is brought to you by my homegirl Rotini, as they're the ones who bought me Atlyss off of my wish list. So I want everyone in the comments to go, thank you, Rotini. Ew. It means a lot to me, okay? Just please do it. Atlyss is an action RPG with heavy emphasis on movement, exploration, and combat. Essentially, you are asked by a big-ass goat lady, a bigger rabbit man, and an even bigger possum lady to go slay all the evil that lurketh within the world. And because you're either bored, heroic, or horny, are like, yeah, I'ma handle that. And handle that you do, by way of dodging, dashing, hacking, slashing, and of course the almighty parry. Launching the game, you're treated to a fly around some ancient arena while techno music bumps in the background. And I gotta say, off the rip, the presentation of this game is so good, y'all. Obviously, the graphics are inspired by 6th generation consoles. You know, your PS2s and your GameCubes and whatnot. But in terms of design aesthetic, I'm getting some big Mega Man Legends vibes. The world as a whole gives me that vibe of Mega Man Legends, but especially the second dungeon area, like, dog, look at these golems, they scream Reaver boss, they look just like them, dude. But going beyond that, Atlyss has this really interesting dichotomy between being cute and being bleak. Because on one hand, you got these Maple Story ass pigs and these really adorable character portraits. But on the other hand, you got these dungeons that are bleak and the muted color grading that kind of gives out the vibe that the world has definitely seen better days. In terms of music, most of the tracks are pretty solid and serve their purpose well. When you're not in combat, the music has an ethereal aspect to it, which reminds you that the world that you're inhabiting is a mysterious one and one that is bygone its era. However, once shit gets poppin', the beat follows suit as we enter the unsa zone with mid to high adrenaline techno music. Upon selecting either single player or multiplayer, you are brought over to the character creator screen. And if y'all ever seen my streams, you know that I love me some character creator. Do I get the game too? Yes or no? I haven't got to the gameplay yet. I'm still in the damn character creator 40 minutes in. I'm still in the character creator 40 minutes in. Starting off, you have 5 playable races to choose from. Imps, shark people from water hell, the unfortunately named Poons, which is so crazy to me, dog. Like, your whole race is named after Punani, and y'all shortened it, and it sounds like a like, what the f? You got the legally distinct kobolds, beardles, and finally, the Changs, who, fun fact, are actually from the developer Kissef's first game called Chang Kabang. We play as a little rat guy from the Chang gang who said the 5-0 and decided to destroy the entire city with weapons provided to him by a person named, and I quote, Suki Nips. Anyways, each race also does come with their own innate abilities. Like, for example, the Beardles can guarantee a crit for their next strike. However, you can find these abilities out in the wild, so I really wouldn't worry too much. I really wouldn't worry too much about what you start off with, and just pick a little guy that speaks to your heart, you know? After you pick your race, you have several options for customization, such as texture, color, species-specific features, face shape, height, titty size, ass size, and bombastic Bumbleclad! Finally, and probably the most important screen, is the trait screen. From here, you can choose your starting weapon, character clothing, and stat allocation. The 4 main stats are your box standard spread of strength, mind, dex, and vitality, and they all do exactly what you think they would. Strength increases your stamina and damage of strength weapons, mind increases your mana and the damage you do with magical weapons, vitality increases your health, so on and so forth, you know the drill. In terms of starter weapons, you got basic stuff, and the choice again doesn't really matter too much as you'll find new weapons pretty soon. However, if you do want my advice, don't start with the staff. Don't start with the staff. Just trust me on it. Don't start with the staff. That shit's okay. Seriously, do not start with the staff unless you're playing with friends or have an infinite font of patience. Do not start with the staff. More on that later. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I definitely spent a lot more time than I should have staring at some hamster cheeks, you know. But gooning aside, this is actually a really good character creator. Like, yeah, you can just turn your sliders to the max and call it a day. And honestly, nothing wrong with that. More power to you. I get it, right? But if you want to put in the time and effort, you can make some really unique and cute characters, which honestly makes sense because this is a furry game and furries love their OCs. Like, come on, that makes sense. It makes sense. For my playthroughs, I made 3 characters who each specialize in a different aspect of combat. There's my imp girl named Ziznik, who compensates for her small size with big weapons and an even bigger propensity for violence. She is my strength-based run. Almi, a timid kobold mage who'd much rather be at home. He was my magic-focused build. And finally, my first character, Paris, a no-nonsense archer who relies on deadly precision and outmaneuvering her foes. She was my dex-centered run. Also, for y'all wondering why my bird is named Paris, there's a very simple answer. You see, I'm a nigga. And we all know where niggas trying to be in, right? After you create your character, your vision is filled with bright lights and runes flying all around, as a mysterious voice tells you your time is not over and that your strength is needed. You then appear on a mysterious island with a temple in front of you. Heading to the temple, you meet a kobold woman named Angela, who reveals that she's the one who summoned your soul to the sanctum to defend against darkness. I'll be real with y'all. This is a nothing burger of lore right now. Okay, to play devil's advocate, it isn't a nothing burger. Like, there's some sprinkling of lore here and there. Like, there's a thing called a shattering, which split the world, and now it's fractioned a bunch of different pieces, and that's why you go through portals and stuff. But honestly, as it stands right now, the game just doesn't have much lore, which, to be fair to it, it is still in early access, and it seems like Kisef is trying to focus more on making the game fun than writing a novel, which I can respect. But if you're a big lore guy like me, and lore is what drives you through a game, you might be a little disappointed on what you find. Angela's first task to you is to simply explore your new home and get comfortable with the sanctum. And as you follow this quest, you'll be acquainted with some key characters, such as Enoch, the absolute unit of a rabbit who believes in strength, honor, and letting your nuts hang. Like, seriously, bro, this dude has got his cheeks out to the wind. He's a free baller, bro. And the second character you'll meet is the Southern Opossum Belle Sally, who, I need her, bro. I need Sally so bad, bro. Like, y'all got no idea how bad I need this woman. Like, she is nothing but green flags in my eyes. 3 times my height, a kind-hearted soul, and a bag chaser? Like, come on! I need her, bro! I need her! These 3 NPCs, Angela, Enoch, and Sally, are the 3 realm guardians who pertain to Mystic, Fighter, and Bandit, respectively. Although Sally does have to keep her affiliation to the Bandit class on the DL, which is like, I get it, right? I totally get it. Like, if I was affiliated with criminal activities, which I'm not, I wouldn't want my business broadcasted either. However, there's only like 8 niggas in the sanctum total, and like half of them are fodder. So it's like, it doesn't take a genius to realize that the person who runs the shop, wears a hood, and has associates all around the world is probably the bandit leader. Like, After completing the introductory quest, and of course, unlocking the achievement, Angela then tells you that you must commune with the sigil stone inside of the catacombs. With nothing better to do, of course, Angela unlocks a path for you, and you're able to embark into the main game. The controls in Atlyss are pretty standard for the most part. WASD moves your character, and the mouse controls your camera. You can press space to jump, or you can press space twice to double jump. You have a dash in the E button, which doubles up as a dodge. You can press shift key to strafe, and you can use the middle mouse button to lock on the targets. When it comes to combat, you start off with 3 basic maneuvers. Left click allows you to attack, pressing E, as mentioned before, will make your character dodge in a certain direction, and the most important of them, pressing right click will allow you to activate a shield. When held down, it will create a bubble around your character which blocks attacks. Holding the shield will slowly drain your stamina as indicated by the orange circle. Blocked attacks will drain stamina faster, and if your stamina drains to 0 while your shield is up, you'll be left fatigued and unable to recover stamina for a short while. Shielding by itself is a pretty basic and serviceable mechanic. However, if you're trying to rank up from a level 1 crook to a level 99 boss, you're gonna need to know how to parry. A parry is performed by shielding just as an attack is about to land. If done correctly, you'll hear a little ping sound, followed by your enemy being stunned for a short while. Something to note is that you cannot parry enemies that are significantly higher level than you. If you attempt to parry an enemy that's higher level than you, you'll still shield the attack, however there will be no stun and no satisfying ping. In comparison to games like Sekiro or Fury, the parry timing is pretty lax, a good second and a half of grace period. However, the game is not afraid to throw legions upon legions of enemies at you, so unless you want to be on the receiving end of a Jujutsu no jumping, you better get real familiar with the parry mechanic. As you progress through the game, you'll gain access to a plethora of ways to dispatch your foes, such as swords, staves, knives, and all types of magical shit. Each weapon type has its own unique properties, such as attack rate, range, and access to jump attacks. And for the most part, each weapon feels pretty unique and fills their niche. I will say that in my experience, the 2 weapon types that scale off of mine, the staff and the bell, are not the schmoove. The bell is kinda cool, as it's like a heavy based weapon that has good crowd control, and the staff can be used in conjunction with a shield to have like a battle mage type B. But overall, I found these weapons really lackluster, especially in the early game where it felt like my attacks were doing nothing more than slightly tickling the booty hole of local fauna. Mind-based characters do get the most mana and thus the most utility for spells. However, unless you get a lucky drop in the early game or know where to purchase spells, you're probably not getting access to any of these spells until you reach level 10, which is the level that you get to select your class. Besides my gripes with early game magic, I fuck heavy with the combat mechanics, and it's easily the biggest reason why you should pick up this game. Well, second biggest reason. Atlyss is a game that heavily rewards mastery over its systems. Learning how to properly time your dodges and parries makes you feel like a total badass, and the variety of skills available opens the gateway for some serious combo synergy. Like for example, on my bandit character Paris, I had a combo where I would stun my enemies with the payday move, and while they were stunned, I would drop a bomb at their feet while simultaneously hitting them with a killer jab that's been empowered by my inner focus, guaranteeing a crit and most likely killing them. The gameplay loop is split between traversing the open world and delving into the dungeons. The open world portion is mostly focused on exploration, with vast vertical scaling architecture and many secrets to be found, such as collectibles and merchants. In comparison, the dungeons of Atlyss are more combat oriented, with minor platforming. Again, think Mega Man Legends. As of right now, Atlyss currently has 2 dungeon types, the Catacombs and the Crescent Groves. The typical dungeon will have you going from room to room, clearing out enemies and collecting keys. At the end, you'll be given the option to fight a dungeon boss, and upon its defeat, you'll be rewarded with a boss chest. I found that clearing out dungeons in the world of Atlyss to be an oddly zen experience. Like, yeah, the game throws a fuck ton of mobs at you with a pumping ass soundtrack, but once you fall in the rhythm of the game, it can be really relaxing. And I find this sentiment goes doubly so for multiplayer, as this game is the perfect background game to have while y'all chat on Discord about your day and just, catch up with the homies. While we're on the topic, I do want to bring up that Atlyss definitely feels like it was balanced with multiplayer in mind. During my group play sessions, I found that the pacing of dungeons was pretty smooth and any challenge we came up was manageable, granted that we were the correct level. In contrast, my single player runs in the early parts weren't too bad, but during the later ones, definitely felt like it took a lot longer to get through. As far as I can tell, the dungeon Atlyss either do not scale or the scaling is heavily in favor of the multiplayer, as I found that dungeon rooms that I was clearing easily in multiplayer turned into hard DPS and parry checks when I was in single player. The consequences for dying in Atlyss are on the lower end, as when you die, you'll just respawn at the beginning of the dungeon with no loot lost. However, any enemy inside the room you died in will be restored to full health, which can be really annoying when you spend 20 minutes in a boss battle circle strafing the motherfucker just for him to clip you last second and you die having to restart the entire thing. Shot! Sorry, y'all, just a little PTSD from my first playthrough is all. Once again, I want to remind y'all that this game is an early access game, and the developer Kissef is aware of the single player issue and is currently working on ways on how to balance that. However, as the time stands, I recommend playing this game with your friends if you do want to play it. To summarize my thoughts, Atlyss is a game that I was surprised how much I enjoyed. Look, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't drawn in by the giant opossum lady with the yams that could crush me entirely in a beautiful, beautiful death. But going beyond that, it is genuinely one of the most enjoyable games that I've had the pleasure to play in recent memory. The combat is incredible, so buttery smooth, from the dodges, parries, different weapons, spells, oh, shlabagaluba. It's so good. Everything just blends together. It works really well. The aesthetics, very beautiful. You know, me being a 24, soon to be 25-year-old Zoomer, I love the PS2 graphics. That hits me right in my nostalgia range. The music is bumping. The character art is pretty. Like, God, this game is, it's so good. And dare I be so bold, with the proper love and care, Atlyss could really become one of the indie GOATs. It could be one of the indie graves of all time, up there likes with give me a second, I can think of one. Balatro. Once again, I want to make sure y'all know that this game is still in early access and it's not perfect, right? There's still a lot of room for improvement. Like, the story's a bit lackluster, the level cap is low at 25, and the single player experience can be a bit of a slog. However, with all that being said, there is still a lot more good than bad in Atlyss. And with the constant updates the developer is doing, there's no doubt in my mind that Atlyss will fix all these issues and add more stuff with time. And even if Kissef decides to go completely MIA and never update the game again, which again, I highly doubt, because this man is constantly doing patch notes, updates, developer blogs. But let's just say, sake of the argument, right, we never see another update again. Atlyss, as it is right now, is still very much worth the $10 asking price. So if you can just convince your friends to look past the furry yams, or better yet, tell them to stop lying to themselves and admit that they actually do enjoy the furry yams, I have no doubt in my mind that y'all will enjoy this game. Like, it is so much fun, y'all. Whew, the first video of the new era of Azeem is done. How y'all feeling, y'all? What'd you think of the video? Did you like it? Did you rock with it? What were your thoughts? Can you tell this is the unscripted part? But no, for real, I am really curious on what y'all thought, because I'm trying to like do a lot more creative stuff, right? Like, I enjoy my TikTok, I enjoy making Instagram reels and streaming, but like, I'm trying to flex all my creative muscles, you feel me? So please let me know what y'all thought. Also, I want to give a big shout out to all like the stuff that's coming up on screen right now. The people who, when I made my first Atlyss video on TikTok, were like, yo, I'm gonna draw you a fursona. I was like, nigga, what? Like, I was surprised how many of y'all came out the woodwork. So like, thank y'all so much. That shit is so nice to me. But I actually don't know what I want to say here. I don't know how much art I'm actually gonna put in the video, so like, I'm just gonna yap it right now. But if you watch the end of the video, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop now. I'm sorry.